Welcome to the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider, a full hour of Lakers hoops talk with head men's basketball coach Cornell Mann and head women's coach Mike Williams, plus special guests throughout the show. Now live on location, here's your host, Brian Fongers.
Well, good Monday evening once again, everybody. We're coming to you live inside the GVSU basketball offices for a brand new installment of the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider. It's always the fastest hour on radio. Also like to thank our listeners and viewers on YouTube as a part of the Grand Valley Sports Network for checking us out every Monday night. My name is Brian Fongers, and like we always do in the first half hour, we're checking in on the GVSU men's basketball team, currently sitting at 19th in the country. We'll probably go up a few spots, to say the least, in the upcoming coaches poll nationally that'll come out tomorrow afternoon. The GVSU men are coming off another 2-0 weekend at home against Roosevelt and Wisconsin Parkside on Thursday and Saturday, respectively. The GVSU men sit at a tie atop the GLIAC standings with Michigan Tech at 13-3, but GVSU holds that tiebreaker because they beat Michigan Tech twice in the regular season. They're 20-4 overall. And to talk about this past weekend's games is head men's coach Cornell Mann. Corn, thanks for joining us. Another quality weekend for the boys, to say the least.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
So it was 81-52 against Roosevelt on Thursday, 73-57 on Saturday against Wisconsin Parkside. As we dip into the performances of the week, presented by Trinity Health, the official sports performance provider of GVSU Athletics. Corn, let's start off on Thursday, 81-52 against Roosevelt. It was a tight game at the half. I know some conversations, to say the least, were had in the halftime locker room, but not just the Thursday game, but just the season in general. Your defense has been really good. One of the best in the country. You talk about it being one of the best, if not the best, in the country, especially in the GLIAC, going up against some other quality defensive teams. What stood out from your team defensively over the weekend?
Well, I thought we were all on the same page. Again, when a game starts, we have to see how the opponents are trending, what areas they're trending in, and whatever adjustments we have to make. The thing that I'm really enjoying is our players taking a lot of accountability and a lot of control over some of that happening throughout the game. And so, for example, it was a time in the game where it was some switches that probably needed to happen, and we call them emergency switches. And so Mason Docks made emergency switch. And so it was a timeout happened, and I said, Mason, hey, we probably should go the other way. Mason said, well, Coach, we thought it'd be better to switch if we did it this way. And I said, okay, let's just keep it going that way. They did a great job. It was the right move. It was the right thought, and it worked. And so those guys are taking the bull by his horn, and they are having an input and really doing a great job. And is obviously we got older guys with high IQs, really doing a great job of understanding what we do, how we play, and then finding ways that we can adjust and bring it to the sideline. A lot of times is the scout report, but when they see something and they say something, we normally do listen to them and see if that's the right move, and in this case, it was the right move.
That's a sign of a mature basketball team. We talk about the senior leadership. It's not, when you go to the sidelines and have those conversations, it's not butting heads. It's just having an open line of communication. There's no back-talking going on at all.
No, there is no back talking.
Right.
We will not have that.
Yeah.
No, there's no back talking, and again, we're on the same page. So those guys are free to think, free to suggest, and and I respect them enough, and I know them well enough that their heart is in the right place, and so it's easy for us as a staff to listen to them and hear them out. Now, obviously, that is not all the time where it's going to be okay. Let's go that way. But we're all on the same team, no matter the fact that I'm the coach and they're the players. We all got the same goal. And so for that reason, I'm open, and the players are open to adjust and change. And it does show maturity. It shows accountability, shows the fact that guys got high IQ, and they're together, because a lot of times they talk about it before they even get to the sideline. And so when they come to the sideline, they're on a united front, and I got a lot of respect for that.
In the victory on Thursday, David Wilkerson led the offense with 15 points all in the first half on 6 of 11 shooting, knocked down 3 triples. Jalen Charity hit 1,000 points for his Laker career. I believe he was the 36th member to hit 1,000 points for his Laker career. He had 13 in the victory. Mason Dox, 13 points, and Ethan Aldrink had a double-double, 10 points and 11 rebounds in the victory on Thursday. Then on Saturday against Parkside, again, another one of those games where it kind of felt like a feeling-out process. That's a really good defensive team. They've got a couple of transfers that can really shoot the ball, fill up the stat sheet in terms of the offense. You guys were able to, again, pull away in the second half. It was a 1-point game, 32-31 at the break. You ended up winning it 73-57. I guess, compare it to Thursday, what changed in the second half?
I don't know if anything actually changed as much as we adjusted. And again, that's what teams supposed to do. You're supposed to make adjustments. I would even say, like in my first year, I might have been guilty of not making enough adjustments, and now we make adjustments all the time. I'm not one of those guys that get in the locker room and go crazy. So the guys, maybe once or twice this year, I kind of yelled at halftime, but it's a conversation. I mean, those dudes are for the most part, the young men that not far from being a man, and so they don't need me to come in and yell and lose my mind. It's hard to hear with the young people these days. It's hard for them to hear me out that way. And so we have a very honest conversation about what's going on the floor. And I may, front off a guy and tell him, like, hey, you're doing absolutely nothing. The job you're supposed to do, you're not doing. That's not a bad thing. I'm just telling you point blank what the situation is, and we need you to change that in order for us to win this game. So again, I just think it's about being on the same page. And so in the second half of that game, we played a little different defensively. We played with a little more energy and a little more effort defensively, and our defense turned our offense up. There's a lot of teams in the country that offense ignite defense. Our defense ignite our offense. Yeah. And if I'm a fan, and I've always felt this way as a player and as a coach, being an assistant, I always want to be involved with a high-energy game that it's like a lot going on. And so if I'm a fan, I'm thinking like, man, I want some popcorn, but I'm not leaving until it's time out because there's a lot of action going on. And so I think we play an exciting brand, and I think the guys enjoy that. And so, again, at halftime, I have nothing to yell about. We talk about it. They came out with energy and effort, and we played that exciting brand that we used to.
In the victory on Saturday, Mason Dox, 14 points, 5 rebounds. Ethan Aldrink had 14 and 7. Jalen Charity, 11.6 rebounds. Trevor Smith, 13 points, 4 assists. And David Wilkerson, double figures again for him. He had 10 points along with 4 steals. Before we take a break here, Corn, you're in your 4th season now. Do you feel like, compared to when you started, how have you adjusted in terms of, I guess, maybe getting a better feel for the game as a head coach, looking out for the bench? How have you adjusted in terms of maybe making in-game adjustments and just getting a feel of the game?
Well, I think my first year was probably, we won 18 games. I think we was one outside of being in the tournament. The following 2 years, we had a lot of injuries, and so I learned a lot from that, actually, from the injuries, because you have to play some other guys. You have to find ways to win. But the first year was my best teaching lesson, and I do feel like we played an exciting brand. We played hard. We played physical. But I didn't think – I thought other teams was able to catch a rhythm. And we didn't make enough adjustments during that time where they caught rhythms. And so, but, as an assistant coach, I don't want to say it was the same. It was not. But, your suggestions are your suggestions, and you hope the head coach see you for who you are, and you're trying to help him get the team right. And in this case, my assistants is doing the same thing that I was doing as an assistant. And It's just I got to make the call.
Yeah.
I make the call. And because of the first year and learning that process, now I really, really, really look for areas to make adjustments in. I love making adjustments. It's more like playing chess and checkers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing about coming to Grand Valley that's been super duper awesome. You know, people always say, well, why'd you go to a Division II school? Well, first of all, Grand Valley is, take out the divisions, Grand Valley is unbelievable. But you know, you have a chance to coach in an environment that's awesome, but in a league that's really good, that got great coaches in the league and really good players. And so if you're not growing in this situation, something is wrong. And I feel like I've grown. I feel like my assistants have grown. I feel like the program has grown.
Absolutely. Well, Corn, our special guest on the men's side is true freshman Austin Torrey. Went to Wayne Memorial High School as a freshman. How has he come along here during his short time in Allendale?
Well, I think Austin is he's a very good young man. He's a very smart young man. Take care of his business. He's about his business. I think Austin has as much upside as any player, not just at Grand Valley, not just in the GLIAC, but in Division II. I think his future is as bright as anybody's. You know, it's going to be up to him to make a daily decision to get up, get out, and work. And if he does that, then sky is truly the limit.
Well, Corn, we'll let you take a breather here. We'll take a break, and when we come back, freshman Austin Torrey will join us in our second segment for our special guest segment on the men's side. More of the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider from the GVSU Basketball offices is coming your way next here on the Grand Valley Sports Network. inside the GVSU basketball offices, continuing along with our men's basketball conversation. It's now time for Grind Time with Big B Coffee. It's time to be. Our special guest is true freshman out of Westland, Michigan, product of Wayne Memorial High School. Austin Torrey joins us tonight. Austin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Westland, Michigan is where you're from. We were talking off the airways, but tell everybody out there, how close is it to Detroit?
It's about 35 minutes from Detroit, right outside of downtown Detroit.
Then you went to Wayne Memorial High School. I guess how close is that? Same proximity to Detroit then?
Yes, I live right down the street from Wayne, so
okay,
pretty much the same.
Very cool. And you were born in a busy household. It says you have 7 siblings, 4 brothers, 3 sisters, and you're one of the youngest in the family. So being one of the youngest, what was it like growing up in a full household?
I think it was good, honestly, having those older siblings like to push you in everything you do. And sometimes, bust you on your head about certain things. But I think it was still good to have them on my side, just wanted me to get better at everything I do every day.
A lot of siblings play basketball like you?
Nah, just my brother, and then I had a couple sisters that played volleyball in middle school and early high school, but after that, nah.
So a pretty athletic family then growing up, playing volleyball, basketball, and whatnot. So like I said, Wayne Memorial High School, it says that you were all-state honorable mention as a senior, and you were all-area, courtesy of the Detroit News. Second-team honors as a senior. During your high school career there, the farthest your team made it in the tournament.
Yeah. We made it to a state championship last year. It was like a kind of unexpected for everybody around the state. They didn't really expect us to get there. But we had like a good run. We had a good junior combo between Jalen Allen and Carlos Medlock, Carlos Medlock is committed to Michigan State now, and then Jalen Allen is committed to Toledo.
So you had a pretty loaded team there.
Yeah.
So that was quite the run to the state championship. Great experience playing at the Breslin Center. We're talking to Austin Torrey here on the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider. So I got to ask, what made you want to commit to Grand Valley State, play for Corn?
I think it was after my visit, I realized, this was like a spot like I had to be, because seeing how close the team was, being around the team, just seeing that brotherhood, and coming from Wayne, we had a brotherhood there, and I just wanted to go into another brotherhood, knowing that I'd be welcomed with open arms. And then the coaching staff, seeing how much they cared and how much that they're willing to put into me to get better and just better myself.
Now, you told me that you plan on redshirting this year. You can play a certain number of games without burning a red shirt, so you're getting some experience. You played in a few games here and there. How do you think you've developed here in year number 1?
I think it's just continuing to get better, just make sure I'm learning and asking questions every day, no matter what it is. It can be just very little things. Just make sure I'm staying interested and just never get off track. Just continue to get better every day and put that extra work in also.
And also, too, in practice, you get to learn from guys like a Shamus Thompson, an Ethan Aldrink, a Jalen Charity. What's the best piece of advice, I guess, those seniors have given you so far?
He didn't I guess he didn't really want to, but that was his decision. But he's just been pushing me every day. He still knows a lot about basketball, even though he didn't play in high school and stuff like that. He's a big basketball fan, so just him just to be there, he still pushes me every day, sends me those texts, just continue to get better and just don't get down. Just always get better every day.
Keep chopping wood, like Corn always says, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of professional players that you maybe look up to, is there an NBA player that you admire, want to emulate your game after?
I feel like there's not a certain player. I do like watching a lot of LeBron or KD, though.
Okay.
Because KD's very versatile. I think LeBron's a very smart player. You want to have that smarts and IQ in basketball, and then just KD's versatility to play any position.
What's the biggest strength that you think you have out of your game right now in your first year at Grand Valley State?
I think it'll be my athleticism, and then I think an underrated thing that I do have about my game is my IQ and just my ability to do other things, pass the ball, stuff like that.
And obviously Corn Valley's defense, where have you seen your defense grow specifically?
I came from a defensive-minded coach at high school too, so that was another thing that made me come to Grand Valley, knowing that I was continuing to learn how to play defense. I think my on-ball defense has actually gotten better and just taking it more serious than rather in high school where I could just, I was bigger than everybody. But, yeah, I think my on-ball defense has just gotten a lot better since I've been here.
Do you feel like, I know you haven't had a lot of game experience, especially during GLIAC play, but in practice maybe, do you feel like the game's starting to slow down here at the collegiate level for you?
Yeah, of course. I think when I first came here, it was very fast. You know, there's a shot clock now, and just a lot quicker. But I think like me being able just to being willing to learn, just get better every day, led me to being better on defenses.
And before I let you go, it's a great learning experience. The team is in the midst of a GLIAC championship fight here, tied with Michigan Tech atop the GLIAC standings with a couple weeks ago. It's valuable experience for somebody like you, just kind of observing the game and seeing what it potentially takes to win a conference championship.
Yeah, I think seeing these guys, like how hard they play, just older guys, and knowing that next year they won't be here, just knowing I got to step up and just I got to be ready to step up, take that next step into next year. So just continue to learn and just seeing what they do is going to help me a lot going into these next couple of years.
Austin, before I let you go, your relationship with Corn and the rest of the coaching staff, how has that blossomed and developed here over the course of the season?
It's developed very good. I think it's like loving and also a funny relationship, you know, having those funny moments, joke around with them. It's always good to have the coach that you can joke around with, you know, because it feels like a family. So I think it's been good.
What's the best piece of advice Corn or one of the coaches has given you so far?
Just to stay in the gym. Don't let the outside noise get in your head. Just stay in the gym. Just stay locked in, really.
That's Austin Torrey. He's a freshman out of Westland, Michigan, joining us here on the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider. Austin, keep chopping that wood, man. Thanks for joining us tonight. Best of luck the rest of the way here, and we'll see where the rest of the season takes us.
Thank you.
That's Austin Torrey joining us here. We'll take another break. When we come back, head men's coach Cornell Mann will rejoin us. We'll preview what's to come. We're on the road this weekend. Saginaw Valley State on Thursday, up in Sault Ste. Marie on Saturday against Lake Superior State. We'll talk about those games right after this here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
Hey, GB.
GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider is presented in part by Flow Sports, where you can watch the Lakers all season long. Brian Fongers back live inside the GVSU Basketball offices, wrapping up our men's conversation. My thanks to Austin Torrey for joining us in the previous segment there. True freshman, went to Wayne Memorial High School. Head men's coach Cornell Mann rejoins us to preview what's to come. We're on the road one final time in the regular season just for a weekend. We still have to play Davenport a week from tomorrow in Caledonia, but in terms of a weekend road trip for the regular season, we head to Saginaw University Center on Thursday to take on the Cardinals of Saginaw Valley State in the Battle of the Valleys. The men tip off at 7:30 after the conclusion of the women's game. Then Saturday, we head up to the Sault Ste. Marie to take on Lake Superior State, the Lakers, at 3 o'clock. And, Corn, you haven't played them since early December. It's been a while since we played these two teams. And you beat Lake Superior State by a half dozen back on December 4th, 85-79. And obviously a heartbreaker on that Saturday, December 6th, 81-80 against Saginaw Valley State. So like I said, it's been a while. You've watched some tape a little bit, especially from Saginaw Valley State's standpoint. You get them next. But what are you seeing out of these two teams after not playing them for a couple months?
Well, Saginaw Valley is they are similar. I don't think they've shot the ball. In our game was the game they shot the ball the best all year, and so we got to taper that thing down. But I think they playing good ball. I think they playing tough. I think they play hard. I think they have roles defined. So guys are doing what they do. The one kid, Xavier Thomas, is coming off the bench, but his offensive prowess is intact. I think they're a quality team. Again, we've talked a bunch about it. This to me has been the best the GLIAC has been because the top is always good, but the bottom is legit. The bottom 5 or 6 teams is legit, and Saginaw Valley is somewhere right under the bottom, right under the middle, and they are legit. And so we got to go over there and take care of business. We got to make sure our defense travel with us. We got to make sure our rebounding travel with us. We got to make sure our togetherness travels with us. When it comes to Lake State is playing really good ball right now. They're shooting the ball extremely well, especially at home. They're playing small ball mostly, which is a little different from the first time around. They are playing faster and shooting faster but better. And so, again, we have to do our due diligence in terms of calming that situation down, which neither game will be a easy game.
Yeah, Saginaw Valley State, this is like the GLIAC postseason tournament for them because they're a couple games back of that final spot. They're 11-13 overall, 5-11 in GLIAC play. And like you said with Lake Superior State, they're playing much better. They're vying for that last spot when it comes to hosting a GLIAC quarterfinal home game. They're just a half game back. They play tonight of Wayne State for that 4 spot. They're 12-11 overall, 7-8 in the GLIAC. Right now they're tied for 5th with Ferris State. You mentioned rebounding, Corn. Obviously, you want to win the battle on the glass, game in and game out. Before we let you go here, I want to get your thoughts on what makes a great rebounder in your mind.
Well, the first thing is you have the mindset of a rebounder. And so if you want to be a great rebounder, you have to think that every shot is going to be a miss. And so that's first and foremost. After that, then you have to make contact with whomever you feel like is in the area that's going to keep you from getting the rebound or going to be able to get it before you get it. And so you got to make contact. And then when you got to make contact, at the same time you make contact, you got to have vision and see where you think the ball is going to fall off at and then pursue the ball. If the ball is taken on the right side, 70% by percentages, 70% chance is going to fall off on the other side. And so if that's true, which it is, then you got to try and get to the other side, make contact, and legally create some space. You hear us yell out low man wins because low man gets the leverage. And then you just get low, make contact, drive your legs, and hopefully do a good job of pursuing a rebound with 2 hands. A one-hand rebounder is not a good rebound. I know NBA guys like to grab it with one. Yeah. I'm getting old. That hurt. That just hurt. And so, but two-hand rebounders is really what makes a great rebound. After you make contact, vision, and pursue, then you got to attack the ball with 2 hands and secure it.
Just like football, winning the battle in the trenches, right? You mentioned low man wins. Low man wins in football. Always, every time in the trenches. Corn, as always, we appreciate it. Best of luck this weekend. We'll see you on Thursday over in Saginaw.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anchor up.
We tip off at 7:30 for the men on Thursday against Saginaw Valley State Battle of the Valleys from O'Neill Arena. Then on Saturday, it's a 3 o'clock tip from the Bud Cooper Gymnasium in Sault Ste. Marie against Lake Superior State for the men. Pre-game roughly 15 minutes prior to the opening tip after the women's game here on the Grand Valley Sports Network. That's going to wrap things up for our men's conversation. We're talking all things number 3, GVSU women. They're coming off a couple of victories at home over the weekend against Roosevelt and Wisconsin Parkside. We'll talk to head women's coach Mike Williams right after this, as we're live from the GVSU basketball offices here on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Weekly Insider is presented in part by Earhart Construction, right from the start. Brian Fongers back live inside the GVSU basketball offices, rolling into our second half hour of coverage on another Monday, a President's Day Monday. My thanks to head men's coach Cornell, Mann, and Austin Torrey for joining us in the first half hour on the men's side. Now we're talking all things number 3, GVSU women, coming off a couple of victories over the weekend. It began on Thursday, 80-56 against Roosevelt. Saturday, 74-56 against Wisconsin Parkside. The GVSU women still sit alone in first, 23-1 overall, 15-1 in the GLIAC, a game and a half up on second place Ferris State. And to talk about the weekend that was, head women's coach Mike Williams joins us once again. Coach, thanks for joining us. Another busy weekend, jam-packed weekend at the Fieldhouse Arena. 2 more victories. Just your overall takeaways from those 2 wins.
Yeah, I thought, obviously we talked about, losing at Wayne State and trying to, kind of regroup a little bit and work on some things. Got to work on some more of the basic things that we've been kind of not stressing or addressing, and I thought our players did a good job. I thought they responded. We talked to them all the time. What's your response after a loss? And I thought they did a great job. We had 3 great practices going up to the game. Thought we played well at home against Roosevelt, and then carried it out and finished up. I thought played well against Parkside at home on Saturday as well.
What adjustments defensively did you, I guess, not getting into, your secrets or anything, but what adjustments from a fundamental standpoint did you make defensively going into the 2 games last weekend?
We try to work on, both these teams can shoot, and both can attack the basket. We try to get a little bit more in the gaps on our seal. When someone's guarding the ball, that off ball, that first defender, try to see a little bit more in the gaps. trying to discourage some of that penetration. We worked on a little bit more on one-on-one guarding. We've been getting on the side of players, try to stay in front of them, not let them get downhill. I thought we did a better job in conversion, trying to stop transition baskets. And, I thought we did a better job taking away shots, or at least challenging the shots that we didn't do against Wayne State. So, and again, Wayne State's a really good team. They're a tough guard as it is. But thought we just, we're not in a bad spot. Just try to get a little sharp in some of those areas. And I thought we did. And I thought our players were very receptive and worked at it, and they understand that's what it's going to take here down the stretch.
Well, on Thursday, Coach Mike, we talked about it. You picked up your 300th win here in Allendale. Mackenzie Bisbal led the way with 22 points, 6 rebounds on 9 of 10 shooting. Avery Lay, true freshman, had 17 points on 6 of 8 shooting. Then you had Paige Van Stee, 11 points, 5 rebounds, and Ava Scanlon, 10 points and a couple of rebounds. I talked a couple of weeks ago with Associate Head Coach Phil Sayers, and I asked him, now that you're in the second round of GLIAC play, he senses, especially when you guys are on offense, teams being more physical in the post against your players like a Mackenzie Bisbal or a Paige Van Stee. Are you sensing that as well?
I think it's game by game. The last 2 games, obviously, no, I didn't see that. But there's some games when they are. And it's kind of the MO. You kind of that first half, you're trying to figure out how to guard players. Do you front them? Do you side them? Do you stay behind them and shove them up the lane? Do you double team them? And I think teams are trying to, they've kind of found a little bit of a formula how to guard our posts, and then now it's our job to kind of counteract that. But it's game by game. As far as the physicality. But we talked to our players. We just got to do a better job with it. If it's going to happen, and the officials aren't going to clean it up and call it, then we got to do a better job with the response. And I thought our players did both on Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday, Paige Van Stee led the offense, 15 and 7. Mackenzie Bisbal again, 14 points, 6 rebounds. Ava Scanlon chipped in with 9 points, a couple of rebounds as well in the victory. And you're sensing too, especially offensively, more teams are playing zone, daring you guys. I know the perimeter shot, you guys are continuing to try and get some consistency beyond the arc there. Are you sensing offensively good ball movement? You're getting more confident against zone defenses. What are you seeing from that standpoint?
Well, I think in that second half of Parkside, we didn't do a great job with it. Not, we had shots that we were just hesitant to take them for some reason. Maybe they were just that wide open. Like, man, is this the shot I need to take? And so we're going to address that this week because, like you said, we might see some more zones.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't anything we did. It was just the hesitancy to shoot that shot, and they're good shots, and they didn't go in, and that's going to happen. And then is their response, we're going to get on the glass, we're going to stop defensively. But, I think teams are going to mix it up on us, especially that first half. We were really good against Parkside, the extra pass, the ball movement, pushing the ball in transition, some good inside-out action. So, they at halftime, like, hey, I think we had 48 or 49. They went to the zone and changed things up, and it worked.
And you got to see, I guess, a better glimpse of the future here the past couple of games. You're, especially in the first half, playing more players, your younger players, trying to get them some crucial moments, trying to see how they react to high-pressure situations. I mentioned an Avery Lay had a new career high on Thursday, and Nia Davis. Those are the freshmen that get more playing time. But in terms of the other players, the younger players that you want to see get more game experience, how are they coming along?
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job. You see it every day in practice, and we get sometimes you're prepping for teams, sometimes you're working on what you need to do, and I think they're like we talked about, just getting comfortable. And a lot of these players were out for stretches because of injuries, which really hurt them too, sets them back, and they got to battle back through that. So they're players now that I think when you put them in the game, their confidence level now is where it should be. And they get in there, and they can make plays offensively. They're a little bit more confident defensively. You've seen that every time they went in, they've done well. And so now it's just a matter of finding opportunities and situations where they get in there and play. But it's like you said, these players have some of them are first-year players, some second-year players, and when the opportunities are there, they're making the most of them, and that's really good to see. But you see it in practice, and now you're seeing it in games, which is really key.
Coach Mike, our special guest here on the women's side tonight is sophomore Sydney Charney out of Reedsburg, Wisconsin. Talk about Sydney's development here as she has gone along during her time in Allendale.
Well, again, she's been set back by some injuries here a little bit earlier. Now, obviously, had to battle through those and has done a great job. And now you're watching her when she gets her opportunities. She's a scoring machine. She's a walking bucket. But more than that, she's a great passer, a great offensive rebounder. She's worked defensively. Just the effort is unbelievable every day in practice. She gets in the games, and sometimes if these players get in and they want to do so well, they don't want to make a mistake, and sometimes they don't play as clean, as confident as they should. But you've seen her do that in these last couple of games when she gets in, and just a worker, just a complete worker. And also on a side note, she's a farmer, and the Wisconsin State Fair. It's a big deal, and I can't remember what the name was, but her pig showing won first prize, which is a pretty high award in Wisconsin. So, and she's also got her own little radio show that she does from 7 8 in the morning on 98 AM or 900 AM. Okay, so multi-talented person, and we're very thankful to have her on our team.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk to her about her pig farm as well as her maybe wanting to be a radio DJ someday. We'll chat with Sydney Charney after this timeout as you're tuning in live to the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider from the GVSU Basketball offices here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
Insider on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
Our women's basketball guest is presented by University of Michigan Health West, the official sports medicine provider at GVSU Athletics. Brian Fongers back live inside the GVSU basketball offices, rolling along with the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider. Our special guest on the women's side joins us. She's a sophomore out of Reedsburg, Wisconsin. Sydney Charney joins us. Sydney, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Well, where to start with you? You got quite the life. Let's start off by your current academics at Grand Valley State. What are you going into in terms of a major? And I want to hear about this radio show you have. So let's start off with your major.
So I currently am in JBM, which is Journalism, Broadcasting, and Social Media. So right now I have an intro to radio class where I actually go on the radio for 2 hours every Monday, and I kind of talk about whatever I want. Sometimes I bring up Costco trips. Sometimes I bring up agriculture-related things. So kind of do whatever I want, and yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I got to ask, because Coach Phil, before the show began, strolled by and said you have a nickname. Do you have that radio nickname? Can you give it to us?
It is Saucy Sid.
Where did that come from?
Me and my roommates are kind of coming up with names, and they're like, what about Saucy Sid? So, yeah, it's kind of my radio name. Sometimes I go by just Cherney, but sometimes Saucy Sid. So
I dig that nickname. That's a cool radio nickname. So, also, too, you have a farm back at home in Reedsburg, Wisconsin, which is close to Madison, towards the west side of the state. Talk about the pig farm and your prized pigs.
Yeah, so my family has a small hobby farm. We raise about 150 to 200 baby pigs every winter. And then my whole life I've grown up actually showing pigs and lambs across the United States, doing that, jackpotting, national shows, state fair as well. So kind of done that my whole life on my family farm.
So Coach Mike talked about the state fair that they have in Wisconsin. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so when you turn 12, you get to show at the state fair for a couple years. So last year I actually exhibited the champion market lamb at the Wisconsin State Fair. So that's kind of my family's big goal, is to get in the Governor's auction and sell our pigs or lambs or whatever we get in the auction with. So that was pretty awesome. That's
incredibly fascinating. I'm learning more about this pig farming here. So what constitutes a prized pig in your mind?
A lot of different things. They have to be sound. I mean, they're kind of built like an athlete. Have to be flexible, sound, muscle, all the above, kind of that category. So,
life of a farmer too. It's hard work. It's a lot of hard work, which I know you really enjoy doing. Talk about your hours and what goes into the daily life of a farmer.
Yeah, so my typical summer day is usually getting up from 5 to 5:30 before it gets warm out. Usually do chores, shovel some poop, and then go outside and walk the pigs. Usually we walk the pigs for, depends on the day, but usually quarter of a mile each day, so they get their exercise in. And then usually then we put the sheep on, it's called a walker or merry-go-round, so they go on there for an hour. And then after that's all done, usually about noon, I'm done for the day, and then go do some basketball and maybe lay out in the sun.
So you definitely learned the value of hard work growing up, for sure. As we're sitting here with Sydney Charney on the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider, what got you into the game of basketball growing up?
Obviously through livestock and farming, I've always been competitive, and I have an older sister that played basketball, so watching her grow up, I always knew that I wanted to be a basketball player. My parents are both competitive athletes. They both played in college. They both didn't play basketball in college, but my dad was a wrestler and my mom was a volleyball player. So I think just growing up in a very competitive household kind of just brought me to a sport that I love, which happened to be basketball.
What made you want to commit to Grand Valley State and play for Coach Mike?
Many things. I mean, when you walk in the building, you see trophies and awards that this university has won, not just basketball, but everything. And it's kind of hard to say no to a winning program like this.
Yeah, you were part of that national championship team. What was it like, just the experience of being involved with that run to the national championship?
I mean, as a freshman, you always dream of winning a national championship, but that was just a surreal feeling. And, I mean, me and my roommates still talk about it all the time, just how crazy it was that our freshman year we got to win a national championship, and all the hard work that we put in as a team and as a group was just incredible.
Your biggest mentor or mentors in the game of basketball, were they your parents or was it somebody else growing up?
It was my sister a little bit, as well as Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark. I've always liked watching them and just how competitive they are. So
big WNBA fan then?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. So
okay.
I like watching basketball.
Yeah, for sure. So off the floor, your roommates, who do you room with, and what do you like to do for fun off the basketball court?
I room with Reese and Kenzie right now, and then another girl, Bailey. She doesn't play basketball, but those are my 3 roommates right now. I am a big family person. That's the thing I love to do the most, is spend time with my family as much as possible. And then obviously a lot of work on the farm, as well as hanging out with the animals, doing all that. So, and I just love to do adventure, and we'll go on walks and anything active. So,
played your high school ball at Reedsburg High School. Before I let you go, your best moment during your high school playing days, and how far did your team make it?
So my freshman year and sophomore year, we made it to state. So I got to play with my sister both those 2 years. So honestly, that was just the most incredible experience I ever had, was making it to state and becoming a state runner-up my freshman year as well with my sister. So playing with my sister is definitely one of the most special moments I've ever had in basketball.
One final thing in regards to this year's team. What do you like about this year's team that can definitely pay dividends here as you try and make another deep run to potentially another national championship?
You know, a lot of teams out there, I don't think they're as close as our team, and I think that helps us a lot. We all get along and we all push each other. We had a team meeting today just to regroup and talk about being together in this, coming to the end of the season and just playing all together, being on the same page and all having the same end goal. I think that's going to help us.
Well, Sydney, if you want to pursue a TV or radio career, you definitely have the voice for it, and you definitely have the passion for it when you were talking about it. It was a pleasure having you on the show tonight. Best of luck the rest of the season here, and I definitely want to learn more about pig farming here down the road. That's Sydney Charney joining us here on the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider. We'll take one more break. Coach Mike will rejoin us. We'll preview what's to come. Battle of the Valleys on Thursday and Lake Superior State on Saturday. We'll talk about those games right after this here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
Hey, Lakers fans, did you know your game...
GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider is presented in part by GVSU Tickets, where you secure your seat to all the upcoming games. We're back one final time inside the GVSU Basketball offices. Brian Fongers here. My thanks to Sydney Charney for joining us in the previous segment. Fascinating conversation about what she does with the pig farming, as well as what she's pursuing here at Grand Valley State. Head women's coach Mike Williams rejoins us to preview what's to come. Coach Mike, we're on the road. Battle of the Valleys on Thursday, Lake Superior State on Saturday. It's been a while since we played those two teams back in early December. What has changed with both of those teams compared to a couple months ago?
I think both teams have gotten a lot better. Those are, first games in the conference. Obviously, Lake State, Grace's second-year coach, trying to get that thing going in the right direction, and she has. And, Saginaw, some new players. They lost some of their key kids last year, so they were kind of finding themselves. And I think both teams are playing a lot better. It's not always equaling in wins, but they went up to Tech and lost at Tech by 1 and pushed Northern down the stretch. And, at Saginaw, or Ferris going in the fourth quarter, down 8, and then ended up getting away from them. But they're playing better. They're playing better. They're shooting the basketball a lot better. We looked at percentages before Christmas from the arc till after Christmas. They're up 11% from the arc, and so they're definitely a different team than we played back in December.
5:30 is the tip on Thursday from O'Neill Arena over in Saginaw on the Grand Valley Sports Network. 5:15 with the pregame coverage. Then on Saturday it'll be a 1 o'clock tip. 12:45 with the pregame coverage from the Bud Cooper Gymnasium on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Coach Mike, you look at the records, they're both on the outside looking in when it comes to the GLIAC tournament, so this is like their postseason right now with 2 weeks to go. Lake State is 6-17 overall, 3-12 in the GLIAC. Saginaw Valley State 5-19 overall, 3-13 in conference play. So when you look at those teams on the outside looking in, obviously you don't overlook anybody. Do you sense more desperation out of these kinds of teams that are just fighting for their season lives with a couple weeks to go?
I think there's some of that, and I think there's some of that building for the future. I think that you get in those situations and they go, okay, well, can we sneak in that conference tournament? If we can't, can we just keep building for the future? And, I've kind of noticed both from both teams as far as you watch on film, watching scores, kind of watching their games on Flow Sports. I think that they're doing a great job with both. I think that they're still trying to get in that hunt, and yet they're working towards, what we're going to be in the future.
With the odd man out situation, you get, Ferris State's the odd team out this year. They've had to play Saturday, Monday for the most part this season when it comes to the conference schedule. And you have to play teams sometimes that have to play on a Monday, only get a couple of weeks. You get a couple extra days to prepare for those teams. Do you feel that as an advantage at all, preparing for those teams that play on busier weeks?
That's a good question, and we talked about that a little bit. Is it good to keep playing, and not have so much downtime in between, or is it great to be rested and have some prep time? Usually that's kind of what you would think would be the case, but man, you look at some scenarios where teams are playing back to back, or they're playing and they got one game prep and the other team has had 5 games prep, and then they don't play well. So I don't know. That's a great question. And maybe sometimes it depends how your team is wired. Maybe a veteran team, I think, just wants to keep playing.
Yeah.
Maybe a younger team and early in the season, maybe you need prep time to get ready for those teams and need some rest. And at this time of the year, I think your kids want to play. I do. I think they just want to keep playing. Let's go. That practices are getting old right now. It's like spend a lot of time, and I think it depends how your team's wired.
One final thing for you, Coach Mike: 4 games in a week, 3 on the road. Next, the following week, you go to Davenport, then host Ferris State. You mentioned the kids not wanting to practice as much, so this is a good opportunity, playing a lot of games, not a lot of practice. Is that a good thing for your team as well?
I think it is. I think at this time of the year, there's not a lot you're doing in practice anyway. You've already seen these teams already, so you're kind of prepared for them. And I think let's just keep going. Let's play games, and let's keep moving on.
Saginaw Valley State battle the Valleys on Thursday. Lake Superior State on Saturday up in Sault Ste. Marie. He's head women's coach Mike Williams. Coach Mike, as always, we appreciate it. We'll see you this weekend on the road.
All right, man. Thank you.
So again, our doubleheader is on the road this weekend. Women at 5:30 on Thursday against Saginaw Valley State. The men at 7:30. All the fun begins at 5:15 with the pregame coverage here on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Then we'll repeat on Saturday up in Sault Ste. Marie. The women first, the men second. Women at 1, men at 3 from the Bud Cooper Gymnasium in Sault Ste. Marie. 12:45 will be the pregame coverage to kick off our doubleheader on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Then the last week of the regular season, we go Tuesday, Thursday, a week from tomorrow. It's the Crosstown Showdown against Davenport and Caledonia. Then wrap it up a week from Thursday back at the Fieldhouse Arena for our final home doubleheader of the regular season against Ferris State. That's going to wrap things up for another installment of the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider. For everybody involved, I'm Brian Fongers saying thanks for tuning in. Anchor up, go Lakers. We'll talk to you again on Thursday. Battle of the Valleys from O'Neill Arena in Saginaw.